So hi everybody, I'm Simon Pimenta and today I'm chatting to Liz who did the building resilience training back in December. So hi Liz, how are you doing?
So,
So Liz, tell us a bit about your story in terms of ME, chronic fatigue syndrome. When did you get ill? Just fill us in a bit.
it started about 4 years ago, I believe, when I was working a lot, quite a stressful lifestyle, very busy lifestyle, when I got glandular fever. At the time, people said to me, "Oh, be very careful because you can get ME from glandular fever." And I just said, "No, don't be silly. I never get ill." And I only took 10 days off work and then went back to work full time. So I think that's probably, it's not where it began, but I think
Yeah.
that was the straw that broke the camel's back, I think.
And what were you doing at the time? What work were you doing?
I was a dog walker, I was a horse riding instructor, I had my own horse, I worked in a gym. I don't think I was doing the bar, a very, very busy, hardcore life, very,
Right.
very always on the go. Every day was a 16, 17-hour day, just not really sitting. And I lived off donuts and chocolate as well.
Right. Okay. Um, and when did you get a diagnosis?
I don't think it was till about maybe a year or 2 years later. I was okay for, I say okay, I was coping for about 10 months after the glandular fever. And then, but I wasn't quite right. I wasn't quite myself. And then so I had the glandular fever in February. And then the following December, I got made redundant after 5 years for the job that I absolutely loved. And my boss at the time was very incredibly harsh the way she did it. Didn't give me any warning. I just went in on my day off to cover a shift, and she said, "That's it, go home. You don't work here anymore." And
Right.
that was when I believe it really began because the stress was just and the upset and the heartbreak, and
Mm,
it just started then really.
yeah. So
And that
that
was when I
was that was
noticed.
December what, 2015 was that?
Yeah, I think I got the glandular fever 4 years ago, and then I
Yeah.
lost my job 3 years ago. So
Right.
yeah, it was all within about a year sort of period. So
Right.
I sort of it gradually just got worse and worse and worse, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and what did you try and do to get better?
Well, in the beginning, very little really,
Hmm.
because I was never a sick or an ill person. I just assumed um, I would just get better, and because the symptoms back then were so unusual, I didn't really know what they were.
Hmm.
So I slept a lot, uh, tried different supplements, a lot of internet Googling and chat rooms, which did not help because 90% of the forums and chat rooms and the internet and the Google is just such bad news. Like
Right.
it just, if anything, it made it so much worse. I was
Right.
terrified.
Okay. And what was it about those groups that made you feel terrified?
Hopelessness.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is what you are, and this is what you're going to be like forever, and there's nothing you can do, and you're just going to live in your bed for the rest of your life. It was just,
Right.
and the few people that were in there that said they had got better, the other people would go, "Well, you obviously didn't have ME then. No one ever gets better from ME." So
Right.
it was almost like a death sentence.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, so how did you feel after having it? 6 months, a year?
Oh, miserable. Quite down in the dumps, going from the lifestyle I had to my new lifestyle, and I had
Yeah.
no confidence
Yeah.
because if anything, I was probably the sort of person that would judge someone for being ill, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's people judging me for being ill.
Yeah.
Um, so some people were quite nasty. Some people would put in these digs. I remember one person telling me how her 8-year-old was tougher than I was, and I need to just man up and get on with it,
Yeah.
which made you feel terrible, just
Yeah.
absolutely terrible.
Yeah. 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 And so how else did it affect your life?
Um, Me and my partner couldn't really do much. I'm fortunate that my partner's been very understanding throughout the whole thing, but I couldn't get another job. I was only working part time, so I couldn't get another job to replace the job that I got redundant from.
Yeah.
I struggled at my gym job because I've always had two jobs all my life. So the gym job I struggled because I was a receptionist. So very front of house, very stood there in front of all the members. And of course, being in a gym, and it was an expensive gym as well. Everyone that's just blasting through with just a picture of health and vibrance and money. And I was stood there thinking, oh my God, I feel so ill.
Yeah.
So just generally made me feel rubbish all the time.
Yeah. Okay. And so we had a chat in December of last year, and
Hmm.
and you decided to do the building resilience training. You
Yeah,
did the first three modules in about the space of a week just before Christmas.
yeah.
How did you find it? What was the effect of doing that training after the first module? What did you learn? What changes did you notice?
Um, well, after the very first day, the following day after that, I went shopping for the whole day over my local town centre, and that's something that I would always get very nervous over, very anxious over, because it's a normal behaviour.
Yeah.
In the past, when I tried to do it, and I was riddled with anxiety, and I felt, oh, I can't do this, or I'm going to be tired, and I just went shopping, and I just shopped all day long. I spent loads of money, which probably wasn't a good thing, but it was easy and it was natural, and it just happened, and it's hard to explain because you go from feeling a certain way and then somehow you go to feeling a different way.
Right. And how would have, if you'd done something like that, a couple of months before, what would have the impact been?
I would have rushed around the whole time I was shopping. I very much I stopped looking at time, and it was energy clock, always on this energy clock, always got to get this done and get that done. And I'd be nervous. And then after I did it, I would sort of, rather than being proud I did it, I would be like, oh, thank God that's over.
Right. Whereas this time it was different to that.
Yeah, this time it was great. It
Brilliant.
just
So
happened.
what
I did it.
what else did you notice after doing the three modules? As I say, it was just before Christmas.
Your whole way of thinking needs to change. And I didn't realize how stuck I was in here,
Uh-huh.
not just physically,
Yeah.
it's in here, and how much your thoughts have an impact on your body. Obviously, that you have your aches and pains and you have your symptoms, but the way you interpret it in your mind, for me anyway, would make it so much worse.
Right.
And then changing the way I started to think, and started to think, oh, I can get better, and started to think, oh, I can do this, and generally having more patience for it, and having the trust and the confidence that it will go away again, and it just made it easier to get on with.
Right. And what other things have you been able to do that is different to how you were before?
Um, in general, I am doing everything a lot more confidently. I've always done a little bit of part-time dog walking just for my family. And then the dogs I used to walk, I would sort of walk bench to bench to bench because I didn't want to be too far away from the car. I had all these safety behaviours, and now I just walk the dog. It might not sound like a lot to some people, but it's so nice to just walk the dog
Yeah.
and without be looking back over my shoulder and thinking, oh God, I'm 400 yards away. And now every day I just go around the field, I do the hills, just get on, just do a normal dog walk.
Right, brilliant, excellent. So, what would you say to anyone who has got MECFS, who was where you were a few years ago, looking online, hearing all those sort of negative doom and gloom stories? What would you say to them?
Stop looking online is one thing.
Right,
Just don't do any more unless you can find a really positive group. Stop googling. Stop googling your symptoms. Stop googling this. And just be patient and just be hopeful. Just think every day that passes is one less day you have to feel like that.
yeah,
It's one day closer to when you never feel like it ever again.
yeah. And what would you say to someone who's sort of thinking about doing the building resilience training?
Well, what have you got to lose?
Yeah,
You're not going to get any negative effects out of it, are you? So you're only going to get positive effects out of it.
okay, great. And what other things did you try that you think helped you along the way?
Um, if you'd have said to me 5 or 6 years ago that I would be the sort of person that meditates every day, I would have laughed in your face. But now I meditate every day. I don't know if you can hear it through the speaker, but all the birds tweeting, the sun shining. You've got to appreciate stuff like that.
Right.
You step back and you've got to look at the world, and you've got to find the joy that is out there for free for everyone.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've always loved nature, but not to this extent.
Mhm.
Yeah, slowing down, um, meditation, magnesium really helps for aches and pains, generally feeling calm. Um, Eat well, stop eating all that crap.
Right.
Just it's not worth it. Just
Yeah.
eat healthy food, drink loads of water. Just it sounds like common sense, but people don't do it, do they? They don't implicate it into their real life.
Yeah. Yeah. And what
Oh,
have
and
you? Go on.
I'll say one more thing. If there is anyone in your life that's making you feel inadequate, not good enough, like you're not trying hard enough, get rid of them. I've ended a few 15-year relationships and it was sad and I grieved and I miss them, but just get rid of them. You do not need people in your life that are going to make your struggle any harder.
Yeah, that's great advice. And what have you got to look forward to now, Liz? And or what else has been happening since you did the training? Um, I think you mentioned you were doing some more work, didn't you?
Yeah, working a lot more. I mean, I work in an office, and I can do. I'm lucky enough to be able to do my own hours, but my hours have been going up and up. Like I said, I still do a little bit of dog walking. Um, I notice my house is a lot tidier. All the things that I used to see as failures are now getting done, and my washing's getting put away, my shopping's done, my home floors are hoovered, even my dog's getting bathed more regularly. Um, doing my hair, my makeup, just all these things that are so easy to miss if you don't really be conscious of them and
Yeah,
mindful of them,
yeah,
of the things you don't realise that you do every day.
yeah. Brilliant. Thanks, Liz. That's really helpful to just get your sort of feedback and also some top tips for other people with ME, chronic fatigue
Yeah, just
syndrome.
don't stress. Don't stress about it. It'll
Brilliant.
pass.
That's great advice. Thanks, Liz.
No problem. Thank you.